Very good morning. Thank you so much, Ruth, for this opportunity. And also let me express my thankful to the NTNU, the organizer, for giving opportunity to Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, particularly myself, to share insight in this session on the topic of my talk on ensuring fairness, just and sustainable in ASEAN energy transition. First of all, it's very important to bring in the overall picture of how the energy access and energy justice likely to be in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Here, ASEAN is the home to 655 million people, and a huge number of people, around 45 million people, still use biomass for their cooking. These are the source of pollution and can bring many sickness to the people. Although the universal access to electricity is improved in the past 2 decades, but ASEAN countries remain struggling to provide affordable and accessible to clean energies. When we talk about the energy justice and energy access, it doesn't tell the whole story what's happening in the household. When the household are connected to electricity, it doesn't tell how they're going to use this electricity, because the affordability to use enough electricity depend on the household income and their affordabilities. So the energy poverty remains the big issue in some developing countries in ASEAN regions. Let me show you the slide here. On this graph, if we pick about what does it mean for per capita energy consumption and the per capita emission. So the lower end here, most of the country in ASEAN are in the lower rank here. It means that they have low per capita energy consumption, and also they have the low emission per capita as well. So the question is how they able to use clean energy while they currently face a very strong pressure to reduce emission, and thus they need to acquire clean technology and renewable. So it's very important how to help this developing country to transition to cleaner energy at the same time to ensure that their welfare will be increased. So in this, the energy transition, it's important to understand the whole energy system. Here, the ASEAN energy system, we see that the fossil fuel, that is oil, coal, and natural gas combined, are dominating in primary energy mix in the ASEAN regions at the current level. And even we predict to the 2050 in the most optimistic alternative policy scenario, where the energy efficiency and renewable are penetrate for the coming years until 2050. But that scenario also doesn't see much share of clean energy and renewable in the system. And fossil fuel remain the highest share, around 77% by 2050s. If without any action on energy efficiency and the renewable penetration, the fossil fuel will dominate in energy mix even in 2050s. So this will come to the time that how ASEAN can transition toward cleaner energy system. So here the landscape is likely to be very difficult unless we need to have the sound policies and technologies, clean technology to come in to ensure the balance of energy access with affordability, energy security, and at the same time with the environmental and sustainable system in the ASEAN regions. So it's no doubt that the clean use of fossil fuel through the deployment of clean technologies, and more promisingly in the future, we hope that the CCUS will play a significant role in decarbonizing emission in the region. And at the same time, any policy action will need to balancing this kind of the energy affordability, economic growth, social, environmental issue are the most important among the any policy that need to be rolled out in the futures in the context of the ASEAN regions. So it's important to ask ourselves that what steps need to be taken to ensure all this while we are balancing all the need, and at the same time we need to have a future sustainability, particularly for environment sound and sustainable in this context. So I come to the proposed solution that it's important since ASEAN rely on the fossil fuel to steer economic growth and balancing also the need providing energy access with affordability. So it's important to treat fossil fuel in a cleaner manner, in a way that we can use fossil fuel more cleaner through technologies. So we expect that the fossil fuel, coal, oil, and natural gas still play significant role in ASEAN context in this regard. And it will be important to explore that what type of fossil fuel that will be important. It's clearly that gas will play a significant role in this as a bridging fuel to cleaner energy system. And also it's important to highlight that to ensure all of this, the appropriate financing will be clearly needed for the ASEAN context to ensure the uptake of clean technologies. And the most importantly, the leader need to take action right now to do the energy market reform to ensure that clean technology can come in and replace the old technology. With this, I stop here and we'll take questions later on. And I want to give the floor back to Ruth. Thank you so much, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Phoumin. And that was a true eye-opener, to be honest. A first question to you. You emphasized the need for CCUS, which is carbon capture, utilization and storage, rather than massive electrification in the ASEAN region. But isn't that going to be much more expensive?
Thank you so much, Ruth, for the question. You are right that the CCUS quite currently is not commercialized, and it needs to find way to ensure that this will work in the near future. But this is the only way that we can capture mass emission. At the same time, during the transition, I think there are no single way to go for carbon neutrality. We have to pursue different pathways. That CCUS one of the pathway. We expect that it can also be massively applied in Asia in the near future. But at the same time, at current, what the government and country doing currently is carbon offsetting, is where the renewable come in, where the energy efficiency already come in, but at various level. I think country already doing this with some of the update technology if they're able to apply it. But in the future, I think since fossil fuel still play critical role, I think the CCUS will be very important in this region. Of course, I think hydrogen is one of the solution as well in the context of ASEAN and East Asia, because when we talk about increasing share of renewable, oftentimes there's a question that the curtailment is coming. In this way, if hydrogen can be applied, then I think the curtailment issue could be solved, because this we can apply the renewable hydrogen, green hydrogen, for the backup of electricity, and also it can be used for other purpose like transportation or other co-generation, power generation as such. So I think
we need to combine different pathways to ensure that the carbon neutrality can be achieved, whether in 2050 or a little bit beyond of that time frame. I hope response.
Thank you, Phoumin. And you also mentioned the role of natural gas potentially being a bridging fuel. Where do you see, or when do you see that shift, from the dependence of coal going down substantially versus natural gas coming in?
Ruth, actually, at the current energy system, gas already play a significant role in the primary energy, as the graph I show you. They are second energy sources after oil. Even we look at the power generation, gas play a significant role. The dominant sources of energy in the power generation. But coal itself, because of energy security, some of the country rely on the coal use for power generation. But that's why it's important to ensure that if we want to accelerate the use of gas during energy transition, it could be possible. But since the growing use of gas in the near future, it's likely to put pressure in terms of logistics and other. That's why since ASEAN not yet really have a stable natural gas, most gas will be met by the LNG import. In that regard, that oftentimes we are discussing now how to create sustainable, reliable gas market in ASEAN, so that ASEAN and East Asia, so that we can promote gas use during the energy transition. In that case, I think the future, when we do coal gasification in that case, or we still rely on coal, but we can do combine with the CCUS at the facility that where we produce, let's say, large amount of the hydrogen or gas by using coal resources. I think this is one of the options in the near future.
Thank you very much, Phoumin. We have to stop there. I mean, time is always running fast when we're discussing interesting topics, but you will be back for the panel discussion later on. So thank you so far. Looking forward to seeing you again in a short while.